in quarantine. So, but yeah, this week we're just going to talk about phishing emails, phishing scams. Um, One of the things that has also picked up with the virus is the amount of attacks that are going out. They've, some sites are saying they've tripled, they've gone up 6 times. Like the numbers are kind of all over the place, but even us at Strix, we've seen our clients getting hit quite a bit more than normal. So the bad guys always want to find a way to take advantage of people, and what better way than this mass hysteria that's already going on. So they're trying to take advantage any way they can. Uh, David actually has a document we'll pull up, and this is kind of how we're going to start here. Um, this is this is something where it just shows you the different ways you can spot a phishing email. We're going to say phishing most of the time today, but this kind of goes across the board for any malicious activity that you're going to get sent to you, either via an email. They're actually doing some phone calls as well that we'll talk about a little bit later, just to bring awareness to it. But these are the big signs of an email coming from the bad guys here. First thing you want to notice is the email address that it's being sent from. Um, a lot of times it might say at the very beginning something like Microsoft, but when you actually look at the email address itself, it's going to have a different email address. It might have a Hotmail address. It might be from a Gmail account. Might be from a company you've never heard of before. Um, and so that's one of the things you really want to pay attention to. That's one of the things we look at first is who's sending this information to me. Do I know them? Is it a legit email address? If not, most of the time, we just suggest to delete it and move to your next email. Uh, a lot of times these emails are going to include attachments or maybe a hyperlink to click on, a link to another document or PDF or something. Uh, this is another good sign. If there's someone saying, hey, um, you're we have some new voicemails from you. This is one of the ones we've been getting lately. Hey, Microsoft has some voicemails that you missed out on. If you click the link at the bottom, you can access those voicemails and you can listen to what was missed. You see in this picture here, there's an attachment at the top left, but then also at the bottom, you'll see the bad link here. So uh, typically if you hover over the link, it'll kind of give you an idea of where that might be going. So you'll see that maybe it says a weird email address, or like this one here has an IP address associated with it. And then another thing that the bad guys are doing is they're gonna keep it very generic. They're not gonna, most of the time they're not gonna know your name. Or they're gonna say something like, "Dear Becky Sims at hotmail.com." They're gonna make your name your email address because that's the only information that they really have on you. So that's gonna be a generic thing. They're gonna push you to act now, basically. Do this now. Oh, these voicemails that you have are only going to be available to you for the next 20 minutes. Click the link if you want to get them before we delete them. They're gonna make it sound like an urgent need. You need to do this now. And then a lot of times, and it's really funny. We get to read a lot of these, and the grammar is most likely going to be terrible. The in this one, to customize what's included in this email, who gets it, or to unsubscribe, see the message. It's missing the comma, but a lot of times the sentences aren't really going to make too much sense. They're going to screw up their tense, and you know that's another big sign when you have a lot of major grammar errors that that this is from the bad guys. And then if you go down a little bit, David, on this document, and this is a document we'll actually send to everybody, so you can keep it in your files. You know, we're here to be a source of help to all of the people in need, really. So this isn't just for the people who are attending this. This isn't just for our clients. Please pass it around to people to keep them safe out there. With everything that's going on, the last thing you want to do is have your email hacked, or you know, your financial credentials leaked or something like that. We really want to try to help people out. So, and at the bottom, yeah, it just sums up kind of what we went over. You know, it's going to be generic. Um, you want to look at the email address, urgent, careful with the links that you see, misspelled grammar. You want to check for secure websites. Any web page that they are asking you to maybe put in your email address and password. You don't want to do that. That's a big sign of something bad's happening. And don't ever open up any attachments that you're not quite sure about. So those are some of the ways you can spot them. I also, and any questions that people have, I'm moving a little fast, just raise your hands or say, hey, Jim, and I'll make sure to get those questions in. The next thing I want to do is kind of show you some examples of the ones that we've been getting in, and just kind of get your feedback on what signs are pointing to this might be a bad email.
Pop quiz.
Malicious. Yeah, kind of a pop quiz. So this one here, like we talked about, oh, Microsoft says, hey, you got these voicemails. First of all, I didn't know that Microsoft had a phone service. So how are they calling my email address would be one of the things I've asked. But does anyone else notice something here that might be pointing out?
Who it's sent from?
Booyah. Yep, that's the big one right there. So it's from Microsoft, but Microsoft has a strange @zoo.ox.ac.uk email address domain. So good catch, Becky. That's one that actually was sent to us from one of our clients. If you want to go to the next one, David.
Go one page at a time.
All right, here's another one. Oh, this one's actually just from 2 days ago or yesterday. Hey, Office 365 here, just to let you know that your storage is 99% full. If you want to clean it up, all you have to do is click this link. What are some signs here that you guys notice?
This is
Coming from a
terrible all
Hotmail
around.
account.
Hotmail account, correct? Wendy, what were you saying?
I mean, it's just terrible format all around. I mean, the font is different within the message itself. I mean, it's really weird, the font.
Yeah, Wendy, what they do, you're seeing these weird letters, and you'll see that's supposed to be an I, and these other I's come out okay. So what's going on with these I's? They're actually trying to trick the technologies that we put in place that make you that will try to find this particular sentence here. They're trying to trick our technologies.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. All right, yeah. Well, yeah, there's this thing, this screams fraud all over it. I mean, the bottom part, this email, EAL was sent to blank.com. I mean, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. If you click on this, you may need help.
Great catch on the EAL was sent to. Yeah, that was one that I was kind of laughing at. And so some of these you're going to see some blank outs just to keep our clients' information safe. I did just white out some parts here.
Okay.
The other one on this would just be the click on the storage. Click here to clean up your storage. You know, that's going to be one of those malicious links, or who knows when you click on it what's going to happen. We can go to the next one. All right, and I got permission from our client to actually use this one because it's a pretty good one. They did a decent job here pretending to be the website that they have. So it's from the rubberhousebr.com, the support desk of the Rubber House. So right away you might think, oh, well, that's our website, that's the support desk. But then if you look at the email here, Valentina, with a last name I can't pronounce correctly, at nar.com.r. That's going to
Seems
be,
legit.
seems legit. Yeah, yeah. That's your sign right there. That's one of the big ones. And I got away from the quiz here a little bit, but I just wanted to point out some things on this one. Grammar's pretty good on this one. And again, they go ahead and mention the website. That's their legit website. It does say, hey, Melissa, and that's the person they sent it to. But again, they're doing that call to action. They're trying to prompt you into clicking on something. You know, these emails, they're going to be deleted automatically after 14 days. Oh my gosh, I can't miss these emails. I better click on this view the email one. So that was sent to us last year. The next one here, we're going to get into. Here we go with the coronavirus attacks. So what better way to make people feel worse about this situation than try to take advantage of them? And I guess Mike might not have any audio, but if you know, you guys can point out some of the things here that you see going on badly.
I mean, the email address again that it's coming from.
Again, there's an attachment at the bottom they want you to click on. They want you to open it up. But this is just a great example of a way that they're trying to take advantage of the situation. The next one is also a coronavirus one. And I took their names out, but it was actually from, they had the CEO's name in the from part. So it'd be like, for me, if I got an email from David D. Arman, except for the email address is off. And it was specifically to the employee. So which it tricks people into a, you know, especially if you're busy and you're just clicking through things, it kind of, it's a good way, it's easy to not see that sign. This one says, hey, Misty, I'm looking forward to surprising some of the staff with gift cards due to the lockdown caused by the virus. Can you go ahead and purchase these on my behalf? And it's signed by the CEO.
Sounds really nice. It's a good idea.
One of the alarm signs here might be also is, depending on who your CEO is, you might be like, yeah, come on, my CEO has never he hasn't given us crap ever. There's no way this is him. But you know, in my case, I have such a generous CEO of our company.
Right.
Got Halo up there.
Yeah, he gives us stuff all the time for free. He
This
buys
could be
us things.
legitimate.
I would probably just click on it.
You go ahead and get those gift cards.
Yeah. I mean, maybe add a little bit more to Jim McCarthy's gift card than everybody else's. The next one here, one of my all-time favorites. Dear beloved friend, I know this message will come to you as a surprise, but please listen to my story. I'm Miss Naomi Suragaba, a daughter of late al-Badari Sugarabar of Libya. So he was murdered in a civil war. Oh my gosh. And before his death, he actually put $4 million aside in a bank account in West Africa. If you could only help me out, I will transfer 20% of this total to you just for helping me out. This was one of the earliest phishing malicious email scams to go out there. It's hilarious. A lot of people fell for this. And actually, while I was looking up trying to find a picture of this, if you scroll down to the next page, David, I actually found some awesome information. So over $700,000 of people's money a year.
It's crazy.
This is from CNBC 2019. And then it just talks a little bit of why are people falling for this? And it says that these are very effective. They create a perfect storm of temptation. One of the psychologist says here, they play on people's greed. But on top of that, they add a sympathy card to it. So not only am I going to get 20%, but you know what? I'm helping this princess who's in need to get her millions of dollars. So man, I mean, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I do this? So it's just interesting that I was so surprised to see that there's still people doing this, still people falling for this. And the last one we have, this one's been going around a bunch. I'd say in the last year and a half, 2 years. This one, someone actually got into your computer and they did some things where, because they're a professional hacker, they can monitor the websites you've been going on, and actually, guess what? They caught you while you were watching pornographic material. And while you were watching it, they actually turned on your webcam and recorded everything that you were doing while you were watching this video. And so the nice thing is he's not going to release this to any of your contacts, even though he has all of your contacts. If you just pay him, what's it say in this one? $2,400. If you pay him the money, he'll go ahead and wipe out all the information he has. But if you don't, he's going to send the video of what you're doing to all the contacts in your email address. Man, this one has been big lately. It creates fear, especially if the people who get it maybe have looked at a pornographic website lately. But this one's a intimidation factor here. They're going to try to scare you into giving this guy money. So I thought that'd be a little fun to do some examples, but also some Q&A or some pop quiz, I guess, like David said. So yeah, that's some awesome examples. And if you guys have any questions about what we've gone over, now would be a good time to discuss those.
Becky, you guys are getting hit with this pretty often, this sort of thing, huh?
So we normally get hit all the time with this because people are trying to hack into our stuff and send fraudulent wiring instructions to people, misdirecting them where to wire funds. However, since the COVID-19 pandemic, we have not been getting any, which is crazy. It's really gone down. I think maybe they're presuming that our office is closed and they're targeting more individuals right now than they are businesses. So,
that's interesting.
But we normally probably get 5 a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and ours normally, because we are collaborating with, I can't speak, with other, with lenders to do closing disclosures, ours usually say, hey, this is the buyer's CD, or this is the buyer's closing package. Please click on this link to retrieve. And so, of course, we look at the email addresses. We also look at, usually they've gotten pretty good. They've gotten creative. They send signature lines that make it look pretty legit. And so we'll look and see if those are out of state, because we're only licensed here in Louisiana. So if somebody is sending us something from out of state, we know that it's not related to us and we can just delete that.
That's a good one.
So
Wendy, are you guys seeing, I was kind of wondering about you with all of the increased activity handling the travel cancellations. Are you seeing an uptick in phishing as well? Have you noticed?
Not really. I mean, I feel like we still have the same amount But I feel like I have a really good a blocker. All of my email goes through 365, Hotmail, GoDaddy, and then this other, I can't remember the other one that we use, but so they're pretty good. But I will say the most unique one that I've gotten and I feel like I'm really good at sensing these. My spidey senses go off really good with these. But there is somebody with or looking like GoDaddy, and they want you to like update your account. I if I can remember correctly, it was GoDaddy and like Chase Bank, one of those big banks. They look really, really legit. And I just simply don't. I just have a really good policy of not. I will call GoDaddy. I will call Chase Bank and just say, hey, did you send me this? I won't. But I can see how people who are, I don't know, less aware absolutely would. But I also just tend to hover over the links. And when it looks all crazy, I'm like, yep, that's one, just delete it. If it was really that important, they would call. So, but no, I haven't seen an increase, although this last one makes me laugh because, I see the whole thing about, pornography. I'm like, I don't have anything to worry about. Delete, but I can totally see how that would get a whole bunch of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was actually, I did, and I had a question just to ask you guys, like, I mean, what's your normal way of handling these? And you did, Wendy, you pretty much explained that, but I mean, are you guys just deleting them? Wendy's calling the company and verifying? Becky, what are some of the things that you've done when you're questioning it? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I have a lot of background noise going on, so I was just trying to minimize that. So for the most part, if it looks to be fraudulent, if it's coming from another state, or if it's got an out of town area code for the phone number, we just delete those. If they are trying to put something in the title of the email address that will make us seem like it's a client, usually they'll put a road. And our software that we use for our closings, you can search by property address. So we'll search for anything with that road name. And usually it's like something generic, but if we don't have anything active, we're deleting that also. So for the most part, everything gets deleted. If anything is questionable, because we have received some, because lenders are required to send us encrypted emails with confidential information. So we will receive some encrypted emails that we're unsure about that actually have turned out to be legitimate. And we're like, okay, well, that's for that file. Well, you should probably state that property address for that borrower's name in the subject line. So, but we always call before opening it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I've seen those encrypted ones before that are phishing. They say that they're legitimate, but they're encrypted. So that's smart to call them first.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, on the handout that we gave you guys.
Yeah, it should be in your chat if you don't see it.
There's I think it's at the bottom, right, with the email address for Is This Okay?
Yep.
So we have you can send us, it's isthisokay@strixla.com. This is if you have any questions or you don't know, you're unsure of if the email is good, bad, if I should open it or not, you can just forward that to the email address on that flyer. isthisokay@strixla.com. We're going to run it through our security tools that we have in place, and we'll just verify it for everyone to make sure, because sometimes there are emails where you don't really just want to delete them. There might be some information in there you're going to need. So feel free to send that to us. Again, this is a service we're offering to everyone, so feel free to pass it on to friends, family, other businesses you know.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And then, so another, along the lines, have you guys have there been any phone scams that stick out maybe in your head or that have come around to you recently?
Our office has gotten calls about setting up like SBA funding and stuff like that, but typically they're automated calls, and so we just hang up on them.
Okay.
So,
When do you handle the Dugan's main line? Do y'all get any of those?
I don't think so. The main one, well, I don't even know if the one about my car warranty, like it's ridiculous. Like I don't know if it's legit or not, but they drive me crazy. So the number, it's the same prefix every time, so I just delete it. But I do pay, David, I do pay for the robocall phishing blocker thing, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So no, not too much on the phone. It's interesting. You would think there would be an uptick with the email right now, trying to prey on people who are worried.
Yeah,
but
I understand that it's certainly hitting. I saw another article this morning, and Jim talked about it because the numbers are kind of all over the place. The one I saw this morning is that phishing is up 667%.
Really?
Now. Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. And I think, Becky, I hope in the last little bit since you've signed on, we do have some anti-phishing in place for you. So as Microsoft recognizes it, they should slow up, definitely.
okay, I was about to say I had a new thing that started popping up yesterday or today.
Today.
Iron scales?
Today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
go ahead, Jim.
That's basically an anti-phishing tool that we have in place that's going to help recognize. It'll pretty much just block the ones that they know are scams or malicious. And then you'll see a report now button you should see on your emails as well, where you can tell Iron Scales, hey, this is malicious. I don't want these.
Okay.
Yeah, what's cool about that one is it goes a little bit further than what his than what the Microsoft default phishing does. Microsoft will do a decent job of recognizing it and blocking some of them. Iron Scales has a better percentage of recognizing it, but it's what they call federated, and so those emails get blasted out to millions of people. And as people that are on the Iron Scales platform, as they start clicking, hey, this is phishing, it will communicate back to your particular mailbox instance and notify you, hey, this has been reported by other people that it's phishing. And then if you
awesome.
actually mark it as phishing, it will go in and delete it from everybody's mailbox within your organization. And that way, again, the weakest point of any cybersecurity is the end user. So by going in and deleting from everybody else what one person recognized, you just decrease the chances that somebody's going to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So well, on that, I do. I'll share a little story. When I think it was about 8 or 9 years ago, I had a call from the IRS telling me that my taxes were having issues, and I gotta be honest, I fell for it. They knew that in like 2003, I had some tax discrepancies in Michigan. I'm originally from Michigan, and they were trying to clear it up, and I owed, $1,000, and they walked me through how to give them the money, and about 3/4 of the way through it, luckily I figured out that this is totally fake. But I thought after I talked about the phishing or the phone call ones, I'd go ahead and admit about 7 years ago, the fake IRS nearly got me, And
Got you.
man, I was embarrassed to I'm embarrassed to tell people, but what you know, the more I talk about it, the more comfortable I become with it, right? I don't know. So yeah, and I guess one of the things that some of the other people have asked along the way, and I so the bad guys, David, they get my information. Let's just say they get my email account information. You know, what are they going to do with it? What are the bad? What happens after that? Do I really have to be that concerned if they get a little piece of my, you know, maybe my password from you know, something small like my Spotify account?
Right.
Is that a big deal?
Yeah, you know, they're going to take a few different actions with that, um, and each of them are good possibilities. Number one, they may just get your credentials and sell it. So I don't know if you guys have seen the news. Zoom actually got hacked, and there are about 500,000 Zoom accounts where the username and password they've been released, and um, that's one thing that happens is they go online and they try to resell it. The next thing that will happen is um, they'll do something called credential stuffing. So they will steal your they'll steal your credentials, and then they'll go to banks, they'll go to Amazon. Most people reuse their passwords over and over and over again, and so they're going to notice that um, that they're able to get into other accounts based on the one password that you gave them through the phishing attack. Um, the other thing that they'll do, especially if it's an email attack, they will get into your um, they'll get into your email and they'll just sit quietly, and you will have no idea that they're there. And what they're doing is they're watching. They are watching every email that comes in, and they're getting a lay of the land. They're starting to understand, okay, how does this person transact? And they'll find an instance where you are sending an invoice to someone or expecting an invoice from someone, and they'll insert themselves. They'll set up a rule very quickly in your Outlook, and they will start directing the messages that they send on your behalf into a special folder that you never see. And they will start sending messages to your contact, and they will say, you know, here's an invoice for whatever it was that you were legitimately talking about. They'll say, here's an invoice, and here's the wiring instructions to pay that invoice. And it's, of course, wiring instructions to them, not you. And it's to an account that gets swept constantly. As soon as money hits it, the money gets swept, it goes to an offshore account, and then it's gone. And so the criminals will take different actions after stealing your information, but a lot of times there's no indication in the beginning that they've actually stolen your information. You may think you're perfectly fine, but then you show up on the dark web, or at some point you end up seeing that that someone has started moving emails in your account. Yep.
Yeah, I was getting those, David, a bunch. I book for a specific school district, and I was getting emails that looked legitimately like they were from them. And I can't remember if it was like, you know, pay your invoice or here's your invoice, or, but I'm like, wait a minute, I invoiced them. So it didn't quite, you know, but I did, yeah, yeah, anyway, yeah. Very interesting. So with the Zoom thing, do you just suggest that we change our passwords immediately?
Yes.
And to something that we don't use often?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Zoom, really there's two actions to take. Number one, go in and change your existing password. Number two is use a good password manager so that you can put a unique password into every service that you use. because somebody else is going to be the victim next time. I mean, Zoom just happens to be the one that everybody's targeting right now. There's going to be another one later. So,
Who do you
know,
recommend for password manager?
well, we of course have one. We use Mikey internally, and we can resell that as well. But we recommend LastPass. LastPass has a very good one. Dashlane is another good one. 1Password. All three of those are really pretty good.
Yeah, and that's Myki is Myki.
That's actually what we use for Dugan's, Wendy, for all of the agents.
Okay.
It works
Yeah,
really well.
We have a tendency to reuse passwords. I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah, you
That's
guys make me nervous.
like- Yeah, well, that's why we started doing it, because I was seeing a pattern that used to be used, and I was like, all right, David, what can I do for? So now Mikey generates it for me, and then if the agent wants to change it later, they can do it and save it on their profile. But I'm not giving them like a agent 123 exclamation password, I think
Yeah.
that's how it was in the past. So it's much more safe now.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, and it
Okay.
creates it eliminates the, we reuse them because we want to remember them. And that's what's great about the password manager is you can have a 28 character password that you don't have to remember. That's just always on hand when you need it.
Well, and I didn't even know really until yesterday the full capability of Mikey. And I'm sure Wendy and Becky, I don't know about you, Michael, when I do a password on a website, I tend to want, for the ease of it, to save it to Google or wherever I am, in the browser.
Mhm.
Well, that's totally unsafe, which David reminds me all the time. Mikey is sort of the same way. It works in the same way. Instead of saving it to my browser or wherever, I'm saving it to my Mikey. And then when I go to, let's say, a website, disneyagents.com or whatever I'm working on, my little Mikey icon is in the login box, and I just click that and it puts it in there for me. It plugs it in, but it's way more secure than having my browser remember it.
Yeah.
You have Mikey on your computer and it does it all for you, and it's on your phone too, which is super convenient.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting. Okay.
The other thing with Zoom too is, and we had a really good session last week on Zoom, but if there's an update for Zoom, it's going to tell you, run that update right away, because actually they're one of the companies they're doing a good job of, as soon as there's a security issue in their software, they're fixing it. They're putting a patch on it, making a lock so the bad guys don't get in. And if we have a Zoom meeting starting in 2 minutes, we want to put that off. We want to, and then maybe it's now a week or two that you haven't updated your software because you don't think about it until you're about to enter a Zoom meeting, and then blah blah blah. But definitely make sure and update whenever that pops up. Yeah. And the story about the invoices, we actually had one of our clients that fell for a phishing scheme. They ended up doing exactly like David said. The bad guys, they made a separate folder where all the correspondence they had with this company's clients automatically were sent to a folder they would never see. And they started to build a relationship with their client, ask them things about products, ask them, send them sales, and so the client, we luckily ended up finding out before any money was sent over. But what they did, the bad guys had asked them to change hey, we updated our ACH payment account to this number. So please, for your last order of $3,000, could you please send it over to us? They had taken the company's cover letter and had handwritten on it and transferred over a signature that they found. I mean, these guys were in there for over 4 months. I think it took us 4 months of searching in their emails to go back and find where the initial phishing email had happened where it had, initially they had fallen for it. And that's one of the scary things about phishing is you can have all the security in place. You can have we have all of our clients on really good, security programs, antivirus, ways to spot it. But if you can have 20 locks on your house, but if you give the people the key to get in, the locks don't really do any good. So so that's what we ended up having to deal with. Took a lot of time for us all to make sure that was squashed. But it's the dedication these people have to watching and waiting for their perfect moment to get in. It's quite frightening, honestly, to see their dedication. It's hard to find employees that work that hard. That reach.
I was reading earlier this week that the industry, the cyber criminal industry, is going to be the third largest industry in the world in 2021. They're saying it will be the third largest industry. So I mean, you're talking about petrochem and everything else that is huge across the world. Cyber criminals are up there with everybody, and they've got professional operations. They have some of the best customer support you'll ever meet. When you get ransomware, these guys are they, they talk very nice to you. They explain things very clearly, so you know exactly how to go get the Bitcoin to pay them to get access to your data again. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say much about it, but it's funny that you mentioned that, David, because again, I can't say much about it, but we do have State Department contracts here at the New Mexico Tech facility, and that is one of the projects they got this year, and it's probably the largest monetary project they've ever gotten in history.
Well, that's exciting.
So it's the next big thing.
Yeah.
If the government's putting billions into it, I'm sure, it's on our doorstep.
Yeah, they've increased the regulation that they've put in. They've created, actually, in January. It came out, the CMMC, and don't make me say exactly what CMMC stands for. But it is the new guideline that anyone that contracts with the Department of Defense, they have to pass this audit, and it's based on the NIST cybersecurity regulations, which is kind of the standard for everybody. But yeah, the Department of Defense, the government has really picked up on what they're expecting from people as far as cybersecurity goes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
Well,
crazy.
Go ahead, Wendy.
I was just saying, I appreciate you guys doing this, because it is helpful, and it's good to be reminded too, because we do get complacent. So I just appreciate you doing this.
Oh,
It's a good
yeah,
reminder of what I need to keep up on.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, the state of Louisiana got nailed hard this year, or was the end of last year? Beginning of this year? End of last year? And New Orleans got hit too, so they got hit really hard here. And one of the interesting things is because they're putting these regulations in, but then they don't necessarily create a budget for the departments like wildlife and fisheries to go and buy good computers and invest in cybersecurity software platforms, any of this, along with the schools too. The schools are so tight on their budget. It's like, hey, you guys need to be doing things this way, and you need the best of the best in this, and here's $100 per student to spend on computers. Like, so it's a tough battle.
Yeah.
Let's see if I had any other. And those were most of the points I wanted to hit today. I I don't know. We went over a lot of the phishing ones that stand out in our mind. And I want to remind everybody too, like, please use that resource that we made available, because we're here to save the day. We're here to help. Becky's part of our BNI group, and we say that we're technology superheroes, heroes.
Superheroes.
Now that I got my my blue light glasses that I bought
Dang,
$10.
I didn't know that was you.
See?
You took your glasses off. I was like, it's Super Jim.
Completely different person.
You know?
Yes.
Crazy.
We like to we're trying to save people wherever we can. Like, our number one thing is like the money out of the bad guys' pocket is what we want to prevent. I mean, we want to prevent these things from happening to everyday people. The coronavirus has us all hurting in so many ways that if we can just extend our helping hand, we want to do that. So
I just posted in the chat. Next week, we are going to be talking about Teams and how to use Teams. So Wendy, you guys already use Teams pretty extensively at Dugan's, but we're going to be going over how can you kind of implement some of the key things in it to make this work from home life a little bit easier. So if you're interested, the registration is there in the chat. You can register and attend that one, and feel free to share that link to anyone else that you feel may be interested and may need to utilize Teams a little bit more. Becky, you guys have access to it, and it may be something that can help you guys communicate across to the different employees there. So stay on the same page.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thanks so much, guys. And just stay safe and well, and keep fighting the bad guys.
Sure thing.
we will. We will. Yeah, we appreciate everybody joining. And you have all of our contacts, so anytime you guys want to reach out, even just chat a little bit, just reach out for us. We're a resource, so please feel free to do that.
And if there's anything else y'all want to know about or hear about, any other topics, we are looking for whatever, if you hear a friend, family, whoever that is working from home, schooling from home, and needs help with anything. We had someone last week that needed to know, how do I print a PDF from home? How do I sign a contract from home with someone else? Or like Wendy for agents, to put in credit card information on your screen, share your screen, different things like that. Anything y'all come across, please share it with us so we can help.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, have a good day, everyone.
Bye, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. We appreciate it.